All right, let's talk some quarterbacks. And really, it is, I don't want to make this sound bad, but it's like a one guy conversation at this point, right? And that guy is Dillon Gabriel. I think it's really important to start here. The helmet looks way less goofy in person. It actually is pretty sweet looking in person.
It's not as bad. I wouldn't have even noticed it had I think it was maybe you brought it to my attention. I wouldn't have even noticed it after the fact because I wasn't even thinking about looking at it. But yeah, it does. It looks way better in person. You're right.
Yeah. So I thought it was important that we start there. But man, they have been really, really pleased with how he's handled this entire process. And they're certainly excited about his command of this offense. You know, just you're right, just a couple of weeks with these guys in spring ball. And I know he got in and was working with them in winter workouts and all that stuff, but playing actual football is different, right? And man, I'll say this. He moves around way better than I thought he did.
Yep.
I mean, he's more athletic. He's quicker than I thought he was. And the thing that stands out about him when it comes to passing the football is the accuracy. I mean, he's really accurate, and they've been impressed. He's not a rah-rah guy. That's probably the best way to put it, but he has his own way of leading his guys on the offense and being a leader on the team. And it's more of a, hey, I'm going to lead by the way that I play and, you know, the way that I carry myself and handle my stuff on and off the field. He's not a guy that goes around screaming at practice or anything like that. That's not really not his style. But man, his skill set, it allows Levy to do it a lot of things in the passing game when it comes to moving the pocket, booting them out, sprint outs, changing the launch point with his athleticism and some of the play action stuff. They can get him involved in the run game. Now, Ted, you may disagree, but I don't think they're going to want to dial up a ton of designed run game for him because he's just not that big of a dude. And he's really, really valuable to this football team. So now he runs well enough to keep defenses honest, you know, in some of these read concepts, you know, make them stay home on the backside, that type of stuff. But he's got a lot of people around Norman feeling good about QB1, man.
Yeah, I totally agree. Just starting right there with the quarterback run game stuff, I wouldn't expect a whole lot of called quarterback run. Just like you said, keep it on the backside, maybe a handful of times a game. Like if you get the right look and you know, maybe if you're spread out, dial something up on the interior, but I don't think it's going to be heavy. He's going to be way closer to like a Baker Mayfield than he is a Matt Corral at Ole Miss under Levy. You know, Baker could run, was an effective runner. He's not a great runner, you know, but he's athletic enough to make you pay if you overplay some things. Now, I think one of the differences is Baker would try to run over people, you know, put the shoulder down. I don't think that's going to be Dillon Gabriel's style. He's got some good shake to him in the open field. Probably try and make a guy miss. If he does that, pick up the first down, step out of bounds, slide. But I don't think he's going to be putting the shoulder down on a normal basis. Like if it's late, you got to pick up a first down, you got to do what you got to do. But I think he's going to be more scramble to throw type of guy. Keep the zone read on the backside every now and then to keep you honest. But that's not to say that he's not athletic because I've been pleasantly surprised with how well he moves around. He does. He scrambles good, throws really good on the run, and he throws a good pass. He's got great touch. He's accurate, and he's got command of the offense. I mean, right now, that's about all you can ask for.
Yeah, and not not just because he's left-handed and also Hawaiian, but some of the stuff he does on the practice field reminds me of Tua Tagovailoa a little bit, right? How the ball jumps out of his hand, kind of the sneaky athleticism for a guy that's just, not that big in stature. Like there's some similarities there as I've watched him, but I think him coming and ending up as the starter, I think it's working out pretty well from everything I can tell, right? Like, I think that everyone involved, him, the coaching staff, his teammates, like, it seems like everyone's pretty fired up about where OU's going to be heading into the 2022 season at the quarterback position, at least when it comes to the starting quarterback.
Yeah, I think so. I honestly, it sounds like a lot of the staff that maybe hadn't had any interaction with him were surprised with the accuracy and some of the arm talent that he does have. And that's always a good thing whenever your quarterback is more accurate than maybe people thought he was going to be, or even maybe even Levy thought he was going to be. I don't know, but he's been accurate. He throws a great ball, a catchable ball, and he's been a really good decision maker. He checks all of the boxes, and we know it's hard to see in practice. Like it'll even be hard in a spring game because it is a spring game, but no matter how hard you try, it's hard to treat it like an actual game, right? So he has the gamer gene. I mean, we've seen it come out in him before. Like when the lights are on and you've got to make a play, the dude can make things happen on the football field. So right now, it all looks pretty good. If we're sitting here trying to talk about weaknesses, it's kind of hard to pinpoint something right now, isn't it? Without really seeing a whole lot of live action.
He's not 6'4".
Yeah.
Which it's not as big of a deal as it used to be, right? But still, like, he's just not a big dude. But other than that, the decision making has been good. The command of the offense, like he makes good decisions, but also it's not like he's not aggressive with the football in the passing game. So it seems like he's got a nice balance of knowing where to go with the football in this system, but also, taking some chances with the balls, like smart, calculated chances, chances where, yeah, there's going to be a guy there, but he knows where to put the ball so his guy can make a play, those types of things. So, yeah, it almost feels too good to be true at this point with all the stuff we're hearing, but you also got to remember this is a really good offensive system. And this is a guy that's played some pretty damn good football in his college career when he was healthy. So I guess it shouldn't be that surprising.
Yeah, and I mean we'll learn more as this thing unfolds, and obviously whenever we get into the fall, and we can really pick apart every little thing that he's doing and watch it in some more detail. Like I'm sure right now, if you sat down with Levy and really talked about some of the things that he's really got to work on, he's probably got a list, like all coaches do. But just having observed a couple of practices right now, he looks sharp.
And he
As
always
sharp as you can ask for a guy that's only been here for as long as he is,
that, and he looks very calm. Always.
Yeah.
Always calm. Always like he always looks in control. Right? Never looks flustered. So that goes to one of those conversations of like, how do you want your quarterback? The peaks and valleys of emotion, or do you want a guy that's just even keel all the time? He gets a little fiery, but for the most part, it's like, hey man, do you even have a pulse? Like
Yeah.
he is as cool as cool can be. So, and that's how a lot of the greatest quarterbacks are. So pretty good trait to have.
There's more like that than there are the other version. The other version is, the emotion leads to error in judgment, right? And that's kind of that's one of the one things that you look out for. You're mad, you're upset, you are amped up, and that's good. That's good positive energy, but it also may lead you to take risk that you just don't need to take. So I'll take the calm, even keel.
Yeah. I like the calm. I will say it's like all OU quarterbacks, I assume for the foreseeable future, will be compared to Baker Mayfield
Mhm.
because the fan base just like the energy, the attitude, the chip on the shoulder, like that just plays so well with the fan base. But don't compare Dillon Gabriel to Baker Mayfield when it comes to like the emotional component, the leadership component. They're very different people when it comes to how they carry themselves and like the attitude they have, and that's okay. It's okay, people. It's fine.
It is. Um, it is maybe a not the best setup that Baker Mayfield is going to be there the first time the crowd gets to see Dillon Gabriel, and Baker's probably going to be running up and down the field with a flag and being Baker and sucking all of the attention out of the stadium. But that's just something you got to deal with around that guy, man. He's amazing.
Yeah, it'll be fine. I am very excited about QB1 for the Sooners. Okay, the backup quarterback situation is interesting, right? Because Nick Evers, highly recruited guy, right? He's a freshman. This just in, it's really hard to completely digest Jeff Lebby's offense in a couple of months and then go out and execute it at a high level when you're being asked to make throws and do things and make reads that you've never had to do in your entire life. Playing quarterback is very hard. And it's very hard in Jeff Lebby's system, the way that he asks his quarterbacks to read some things out, especially in the pass game. So I will say this about Nick Evers. I've had many conversations about him, all very positive because he has come in and he's worked hard on adding weight. He's worked hard on adding muscle. He's having the same struggles every freshman quarterback has, right? Sometimes he's overwhelmed. Sometimes he can't get the play call out of his mouth. Like there are freshman problems that all quarterbacks had. He just needs more time in the system. He needs more time in the weight room. He needs more time at the training table, right? Got to get my man some calories, add that weight. But he's learning what being a college quarterback's all about. And it's not easy. And that's why I think that they're really excited about the ceiling that this guy has. He shows some serious flashes of ability on the practice field where he knows where he's supposed to go with the football. He's confident. He's in rhythm. He lets it rip, and you're like, okay, I see it. I see it. And then you see a lot of moments of indecision where he's just like, okay, I'm going to take off and run. And I'll say this, that dude can run. I mean, he can absolutely run, but I'm not sure if they had a game next week that he would be the backup. I think it would probably be Ralph Rucker. But the thing is, they don't have a game next week. And this kid's got a lot of time to develop, and he's going to. So he's one of those kids where I know we always get fired up about the big time quarterback recruit, but it's going to take some time. It's just going to take some time. He needs to develop more physically, and then he needs to get more comfortable operating this offense. And that shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. That's how the vast majority of freshman quarterbacks are.
No, and frankly, in my opinion, that's how you want it. You want guys to develop, to get comfortable in a system, and not have to be thrown to the wolves before they're ready. That goes for quarterback. That goes for every position. We get enamored with freshmen that come in and play. You don't want freshmen coming in and playing. It's not what you want. You want upperclassmen on the field. If you can go out with juniors and seniors across the offense and defensive, starting units, you're going to be way better than whenever you have freshmen out there. Now, every now and then, yeah, you have a guy that comes in that is just extra gifted athletically, and plays a position that doesn't require a whole lot of thinking, and those guys can come in and be contributors. But for the most part, you don't want freshmen playing. You don't even want to think about freshmen playing. Um, so I think that Nick Evers is right where you would expect a quarterback that just came from high school and all of a sudden is out there playing with the big boys. Um, all of that to say that backup quarterback is a problem for the football team right now. I would say of all of the positions, like anytime you lose your starting quarterback, you're in trouble, right? And it's not going to look good. But if Dillon Gabriel were to go down, we would be in serious trouble. And I think Micah Bowens has looked okay. The Penn State transfer, he's done some really nice things. You mentioned Ralph Rucker. I think Ralph Rucker has some abilities, but it would not shock me at all if there's some transfer portal focus at the quarterback position.
And that's not a knock on Nick Evers, right? Like,
yeah,
developing at the quarterback position, like it takes time, right? Especially when a guy like Evers comes in and he's a little thin, right? So you've got the mental development side, with understanding the system, all the decision making that is put on the quarterback in this system. And then you've got the physical development component of it. So I think the best thing for Nick Evers would be for, yes, he's going to practice during the season and all that stuff, but just, hey man, eat, lift, and study this system like your entire freshman year. And that would be an ideal scenario for him, right? You're learning the system, but you're really addressing what he needs to address physically. But yeah, backup quarterback, it's a big question mark for sure.
Yeah, which is interesting because we've had just like the quarterback room has been insane for so long, but you have 2 5-star quarterback transfer out in 1 year. It leaves a bit of a vacuum there. So I'm not worried about it until it's time to worry about it, right? I mean, Dillon Gabriel's our guy, and I think he's going to be excellent this fall. He does have an injury history, which is something there, but it would not shock me if they went out to the transfer portal and tried to find an experienced quarterback that's played somewhere and has a little bit of time under his belt.
Yep. We'll see. All right, let's talk some running backs. But first, the only place to stop when you're road tripping is Love's Travel Stops. Love's has over 600 locations in 41 states, offering 24-hour access to clean and safe places. Whatever your road trip needs are, Love's has it. Fuel, fresh food, all the snacks and drinks, including my favorite that I stopped and got some of today.
Oh, really?
Java Amore. That coffee is fantastic. Love's also has you covered if you forget your phone charger or headphones. They've expanded their mobile to go zone so you can grab any of that stuff there. Make sure you download the Love's Connect app for exclusive offers from today's most popular brands. The Love's Connect app also includes a route planner and store locator. When you see that red neon heart on the highway, stop in and say hi at Love's Travel Stops. For a full list of what Love's has to offer, visit loves.com.
Opolis Clothing is the exclusive home for all of our Oklahoma Breakdown merchandise. Gabe is modeling there. If you want to live your life in buttery soft comfort, go to opolisclothing.com. That's OPOLIS clothing.com and use promo code TED, TED, for 10% off your entire order. You still get a discount on all of the OU and OKC Thunder gear as well. That's opolisclothing.com and use promo code TED, TED, for 10% off. Buttery soft and 10% off.
And little thing to add, Opolis just partnered with a young woman named Jocelyn Allo.
Uh-oh.
You may have heard of her. They just dropped her merch on opolisclothing.com. And guess what? promo code TED gets you
Yes.
10% off.
That's right. Love it.
Go check it out. It's really sweet. It's good stuff. All right, let's talk some running backs. So running backs are obviously going to be very involved in Jeff Levy's system. You look at what he did at Ole Miss last year. They were tied with Arkansas for the most rushing attempts in the SEC. Now, that also has a lot to do with how many plays they run with this tempo system. But Ole Miss also led the SEC in rushing touchdowns. They had 4 guys that ran for over 550 yards. So running the football is something that Jeff Levy wants to do. And Eric Gray is RB1, and he is the man for the job. So there's just no doubt right now that he is the best running back on this football team from all the conversations I've had. And he's had a great offseason. I don't really know how else to say this. I don't know. His lower body has gotten very thick. Big backside on that young man. I mean, it is enhanced. So, which is good. So he's put the work in physically. He's doing a really good job of digesting this system and knowing it like the back of his hand. He's emerged as a leader with the way that he's worked. And I really feel like this offensive staff, with that more collaborative effort that we've talked about, they're going to figure out some ways to utilize his skill set and to get the most out of Eric Gray. And DeMarco Murray, the way that he speaks about him, right, just says he handles everything like a pro. That's about as good of a compliment as you're going to get from DeMarco Murray, who is not a guy that blows any smoke at all. For him to say, no, he handles himself like a pro, I'm not sure people realize how big of a compliment that is. So, yeah, it better be a big year for Eric Gray. Remember, the hype was real coming into last season, and you and I, there's no doubt we bought into it. We were talking about it, but I would be really, really surprised if he stays healthy. I'd be really surprised if he doesn't have a massive season.
Yeah, he needs to. He's got way too good of a skill set to not go out there and have a ton of success. I think he's a better runner than he showed last year. I think he's a better receiver than he got the opportunity to show last season. I think that you could put more on his shoulders, and he could be a really productive back for us. You've heard all of the positives whenever it comes to him. My question is he going to be able to put the shoulders down, lower the pads, and go get the physical yards between the tackles? Is he going to be able to make that guy miss in open space? Last year, that was it. He had plenty of opportunities where there's one guy out there, and if he makes him miss, he's going to turn it into an explosive play. And he just, for whatever reason, it was like a shoestring tackle here, a stumble coming out of a tackle there. He just had a hard time breaking those plays. This year, he needs to break them. And everything that I hear leads me to believe that that's going to happen.
Yeah. And I think he's going to be much more comfortable in this zone heavy running scheme for Levy. Now, it is more of a kind of a mid zone scheme where they build off. It's not quite wide zone. It's not quite inside zone. It's somewhere in between what I call mid zone, all kinds of different variations of that play to give the defense different looks. But I just think he's more comfortable in those concepts, right? I think as opposed to him trying to do what Kennedy Brooks did, waiting on the GT counter stuff. I just think this fits Eric Gray's style a lot better. And I think he's more comfortable with it. And I think he's more confident conventional with it.
It's way more conventional. It's more what most guys are used to, high school, and even whenever he was at Tennessee. I'm sure it's way closer to what he did there. I think this running game could suit him just fine. Plenty of room for cutbacks and using some shiftiness, and also opportunities to get out in space.
Yeah, no doubt. All right, Marcus Major, 222 pounder at running back. The coaching change, the new mentality was very, very good for this young man. They're holding him accountable. He wants to be held accountable, and he feels like he has a fresh start, and has even told me how excited he is to play in Jeff Lebby's offense. He knows it suits him. He knows he fits it. Now, he's been banged up in spring ball, so he hasn't been able to show it a ton on the practice field. But this is a guy that is going to get his opportunity. And he fits this mid-zone scheme extremely well. And at his size, he brings a physicality that none of the other backs on the roster right now bring. And I just think that if he handles his business on and off the field the way that he's supposed to, and he stays healthy, he's finally going to have some breakout games and have a good season. I do not hide that I'm cheered for this young man because he's an Oklahoma City guy. And you know how I feel about my OKC guys, Ted.
Yeah.
So this needs to be the year for Marcus Major. Needs to be the year. Everything is lining up for him to have a productive year as a running back for the University of Oklahoma. Now he's just got to go make it happen.
Yeah, and I agree. I think this system could be great for him. I think because of the up-tempo nature that, there's going to be plenty of opportunities for 2 and maybe even 3 running backs in this system. I think, whenever you go right at people with some of that inside zone stuff and you're going up tempo and it's fast, there's some great opportunity for a physical back to really, really make some explosive runs right there. And, when guys get tired, you're going to pour it downhill. And next thing you know, you're one-on-one with the safety and got a chance to be off to the races. I think it fits him excellently. And I'm with you. I've been rooting for him. It's frustrating to me that it's such a big off season, a big spring ball for him, and he's been banged up. And I know there's some things that you can't do about getting banged up, but he needs to be out there carrying the rock. He needs to be on film. He needs to be making plays. He needs to be pounding it into this coaching staff's head that he's going to be there in the fall, because as well as I do, if in the spring, if you've been proven to be unreliable in the past and spring rolls around and we're looking for big things from you and you're unreliable again in the spring, even if it has nothing to do from, you're doing, it's injury issues, that conversation takes place with coaches. It's like, are we going to be able to have him available in the fall? So he's got to really focus, make sure he gets his body right, stay healthy, take care of all his business off the field. And if he can do those things, you're not going to find many running backs in the country with more pure talent for like between the tackle style running like he could do. So I'm excited for him. I'm hoping this is the year it all comes together.
Yeah, I'll say this, just, being around him last couple of years and then being around him a little bit in the spring, he got a bit of a different energy about him. I don't know if that's something, I'm sure it has something to do with the new staff, but he just, I don't know, he seems like he's enjoying playing football a little more, even though, he hadn't been able to be on the practice field that much. I don't know. It's just the sense I get. And that matters a lot in my mind. Like, are you enjoying it? Are you having fun doing it? So, man, I hope he has a good year. Come on, Oklahoma City's finest. Let's go, Marcus Major. With Major being sidelined for a lot of spring ball, Jovantae Barnes has had a lot of opportunities to show the coaches what he can do, and that young man has not disappointed. And
Yeah.
he looks the part now. And I cannot wait to see what he looks like after a full summer with Schmitty. This guy's going to be an absolute monster. I mean, he already looks like a college running back, and I don't even think he's scratched the surface of what he's going to be physically. This guy is going to look, he's going to be a ridiculous looking back. It's going to be
And
awesome.
that number 2 looks sweet as well.
Yeah, it looks really good. And he's made a lot of progress this spring mentally when it comes to his understanding of the system. I think things are starting to slow down for him a little bit. He's going to be a really, really, really good football player. Just got to give him a little time. I do expect him to contribute right away. He's just too talented not to put on the field in some situations. You talked about making guys miss, one-on-one in space. That's exactly what this guy does, and he does it easily, and he does it being a big dude. So he's got to work through the freshman issues, right? Like pass protection's an issue. It is with all young running backs, and that is the easiest way to keep your butt on the sideline if you're a young back. But this offense isn't easy. With the tempo that they play with, they're moving quickly. You got to think quickly, so you got to know exactly what you've got to do. I think he's getting more and more comfortable, Ted. But man, talk about a talented player. They're really excited about Jovantae Barnes.
Yeah, he's a stud, man. He's physical. When you hand him the football, he can absolutely go. Now, he's young. He runs too high. I'm sure there's going to be some ball security issues as a freshman trying to, get acclimated with what it's like carrying the ball in traffic in big time college football. But I think he's going to get way better at all those things, and it's probably going to happen really quickly. It would not shock me if by halfway, 3/4 of the way through the season, that he may emerge as the best runner with the football and may start to get a bunch of reps and may be like the big play running back. I think Eric Gray is going to be obviously the most well-rounded, but like if you're looking for home run type threats in the running game, this may end up being the guy for that. So, this is one of those guys like I was talking about earlier. You don't want your freshman playing every now and then you have a special guy. Well, there's an opportunity at running back, and running back is one of those positions where mentally just not a whole lot. I mean, there's definitely stuff that you have to learn. I mean, it's I don't mean to oversimplify the position, but
you could say it. It's the easiest position in football.
It's doable to as a freshman to be able to go in there and I'm getting the ball here. I know this play, right? And protections and all that stuff you should be able to figure out. So I'm excited about him. I think he's a potential superstar running back.
Yeah, it's the way it looks. And yeah, it'll be interesting to see as the season progresses. Well, first, it'll be interesting to see how training camp goes for him. And then once they get into the season, what his workload is looking like. I said running back is the easiest position in football. The mental component of running back is the easiest position in football. The physical part sucks.
Yeah.
Everyone on that defense is trying to kill you when you have the ball.
It's a lot.
Running back,
Physically,
it is.
brutal.
Ooh. One guy that I thought we should mention, running back wise, Gavin Sawchuk. We'll see what happens when he gets on campus, right? I've never seen the young man play in person. I know from the things I've seen on social media, the kid can absolutely fly on a track. I know that, but we'll see what type of role, if any, he'll have in the 2022 season, because won't be here till June. But if you can run like that, normally you can find you can find some ways to use a guy with that type of speed, but we'll see.
Yeah, I think he's got all the natural ability in the world now. Um, it, 2 freshmen playing, I don't know. That sounds like a lot. If you're talking about 4 backs in the mix there, my guess is that's probably not going to be the case. But we know he's immensely talented. We'll see what happens once he gets on campus.
Yep. All right, let's get to call your shot. And we ask you guys what you're excited about when it comes to OU's QBs and RBs. This first one comes from at Chris Rich 316 on Twitter, who says, tough one. Excited to see EG utilized to exploit his abilities, but want to see Major in a productive role and to see if Barnes and Sawchuk contribute or preserve a year. And really excited to see the transfer Tawi Walker. He's getting raved about by players. I will say this about Walker. That dude has massive calves.
What number is he?
29.
Okay.
He is a little ball of muscle, and I have seen him run some people over. I just don't know. There's just other guys that are more talented than him. If he were to have a role on this team, I would expect it to be kind of in some short yardage goal line situations, because he's a little like muscle tank.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. It's tough, man. Running back. Here's the thing though, man. And this isn't flashy and no one probably wants to hear it, or no one really cares. Maybe that's the case, but I think it does matter. Your running back room is critical on special teams. It's kind of like your linebacker room. Those are the guys that make up the bulk of a lot of your special teams units. Your punt, your kickoff return, punt return. Those guys are going to be out there a lot, and you know, there's a role for those guys to make plays on special teams. You can't forget about that. You know, you're not going to have 5 backs carrying the football in typical game flow. Like, yeah, blowout scenario, maybe you have a bunch of guys carry the football, but in a typical game, conference game, tough game, you're talking 2 or 3 guys that are going to be in the rotation. You can't give 5 or 6 guys reps throughout a week to be ready to play on Saturday.
Correct. All right. And this other one comes from Infamous Bale at BS Beal on Twitter. It says, hopefully Gray will be able to utilize his skill set far more frequently. Having 2 guys who can work the interior in Major and Barnes will be a nice change of pace. First-time quarterbacks are usually nerve-inducing for fans. Having a first-time quarterback who knows the system is relaxing. I like the way you put that. Nice job, Infamous Bale.
Yeah, I like it. Good stuff.
Relaxing. Well, wait till you see Dillon Gabriel on the field and on the sideline. He calms me down. I know that.
Yeah,
this guy.
He plays with a lot of fire though. Like when the lights are on and it's game time, he brings the fire.
I am excited to see that dude play a game. Right? Because I went back and watched some of the UCF stuff, and you're right. The dude's got a little edge to him on game day. So
he does.
that's going to be fun to watch that switch flip.